Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to have you here as we explore the details of scheme-related information. On this first slide, you'll see the key topics we'll cover, including SID, SI, KIM, addendum, fund fact sheet, riskometer, fundamental attributes, and disclosures. Over the next few slides, we'll take a closer look at each of these areas to give you a comprehensive understanding. Let's get started. Let's talk about the Scheme Information Document, or SID for short. This is the main document that provides detailed information about a specific scheme. It's prepared in a format that SEBI, the regulatory body, prescribes, so you can be sure it's standardized and reliable. The SID explains the objectives of the scheme, the investment strategy it follows, and how the assets are allocated. It also covers the potential risks involved, giving you a clear picture of what to expect. Additionally, it outlines operational details such as who can invest in the scheme, the types of transactions you can perform, and any loads or expenses associated with investing. Most importantly, the SID forms a part of the legal contract between you and the fund house. This means that when you invest, it's presumed that you have read and understood this document. Overall, the SID is your comprehensive guide to understanding the scheme thoroughly before making an investment decision. Now, let's talk about the importance of updating the Scheme Information Document, or SID. It's essential that the SID is updated at least twice during a financial year, as per the NISM guidelines for exam understanding. But beyond those scheduled updates, it should also be refreshed whenever there is any significant change in key information. This ensures that investors always have the most current details. You can find the latest SID on both the AMC and AMFI websites, making it easily accessible. For distributors like yourselves, it's crucial to use the SID to explain the product properly to investors. It helps ensure transparency and clarity. And for investors, I strongly recommend referring to the latest SID before making any investment decisions. That way, you're fully aware of all the current details and any recent changes. In summary, updating and using the SID correctly is vital for maintaining transparency, building trust, and helping investors make informed decisions. Let's talk about the common statutory document that applies to all schemes of a single fund house. This document is quite comprehensive and is designed to give a clear overview of the fund's structure. It contains details about the sponsor, the trustees, the asset management company, and other service providers involved in managing the scheme. It's important because it explains the rights of unit holders, helping investors understand what they are entitled to and what protections they have. It also lays out the legal and operational framework within which the fund operates, ensuring transparency and compliance. Additionally, the document provides crucial information on valuation processes, tax implications, and legal aspects that could affect your investment. Remember, this statutory document is legally part of the Scheme Information Document, or SID, so it's essential to read it along with the SID to get a complete picture of the scheme. This ensures you are well informed and understand the full scope of your investment, which is at the core of making sound investment decisions. Let's talk about the updates to the Statement of Additional Information, or SI. It's important to realize that the SI should be updated at least once a year. Specifically, the NISM guidelines recommend updating it within 3 months of the end of the financial year. This ensures that the information stays current and relevant. But it's not just about the annual update. If any material changes happen during the year, like changes in regulations, fund policies, or other significant updates, they should be reflected in the SI immediately. This keeps all stakeholders well informed with the latest information. You can find the most recent version of the SI hosted on the asset management company's website. Additionally, it's filed with SEBI, which means regulatory authorities always have access to the current document. For distributors, it's crucial to understand the basics of the SI, especially for exams and day-to-day practice. Having a clear grasp of its purpose and content helps in advising clients accurately. And for investors, the SCI is a valuable resource to understand the structure and legal aspects of the schemes they're investing in. It provides detailed information that can help them make informed decisions. In essence, the SCI is a living document, updated regularly and whenever needed, serving both distributors and investors by providing transparent, comprehensive information. In this slide, we're looking at a short, summary version of the SID, or Scheme Information Document, along with the key parts of the SCI, which is the Statement of Additional Information. This condensed version is typically provided along with the application form, making it easily accessible for investors. It highlights the basic features of the scheme, including the riskometer, which gives a quick visual of the risk level, as well as the available options and minimum investment amounts. This helps investors get a clear, at-a-glance understanding of the scheme's structure and requirements. Additionally, it includes brief information on performance and costs, giving investors a snapshot of what to expect in terms of returns and expenses. The main goal here is to enable investors to quickly decide whether they want to delve deeper into the full SID for more detailed information. Overall, this summary serves as a useful tool to facilitate quick decision-making and initial assessment, connecting to the broader theme of transparency and informed investing. Let's talk about the importance of keeping the KIM updated. As per NISM guidelines, the KIM should be updated at least twice a year, essentially every 6 months. This ensures that the information remains current and relevant. It's also crucial to note that the data presented in the KIM must be as of specific cutoff dates, so investors and distributors are always looking at the latest figures. When it comes to using the KIM, always ensure you're referring to the most recent version, especially the latest KIM, along with fresh application forms. Outdated copies can lead to misinformation, so distributors should avoid using old versions. Similarly, investors should always look for the most recent KIM numbers before making any decisions. Overall, staying updated with the latest KIM helps maintain transparency, ensures compliance, and supports better decision-making for both distributors and investors. Now, let's talk about the small update note attached to SID, SCI, or KIM. These notes are used to communicate changes such as load adjustments, new features, or modifications to service arrangements. They serve as an important way to keep everyone informed about updates without having to rewrite the entire document. It's crucial to remember that these addenda legally become part of the original documents, so they carry the same weight and importance. Because of that, it's essential that these updates are always distributed alongside the existing printed material. And of course, both investors and distributors should always make it a point to read these addenda carefully. They contain vital information that could impact understanding or decision-making related to the scheme documents. In essence, these small notes play a big role in ensuring everyone stays aligned and informed throughout the life cycle of the documents and the scheme itself. Now, moving on to slide 9, I want to talk about the fund fact sheet. Think of it as a very useful monthly document, though it's not mandatory to review it every month. It provides a comprehensive snapshot of the scheme's performance and key data points. What's great about it is that it shows the scheme's assets under management, or AUM, alongside its net asset value, or NAV. It also compares these figures against relevant benchmarks, giving you a clear picture of how the scheme is performing relative to the market or its peers. In addition, the fact sheet includes a portfolio snapshot. This means you can see the top holdings of the scheme and how the portfolio is allocated across different sectors. It's a helpful way to understand where the scheme is investing and how diversified it is. You'll also find key ratios on the fact sheet, such as turnover, duration, beta, and others. These ratios help you analyze the scheme's risk profile, investment style, and overall behavior. All these details make the fact sheet an invaluable tool for both distributors and investors. It allows you to compare schemes more effectively and monitor their performance over time. So, while it's optional to check it monthly, Using the fact sheet regularly can really enhance your understanding and decision-making. Let's talk about the fund fact sheet and how it fits into our overall process. Generally, these fact sheets are updated monthly by asset management companies, or AMCs. This means they provide the most recent snapshot of a fund's performance, holdings, and other key details. You'll find these fact sheets readily available on both the AMC's website and the AMFI website. Having quick access to these resources makes it easier to stay informed and up to date. Now, these fact sheets aren't just for our reference. They are actively used during portfolio reviews and client discussions. They help us communicate clearly about a fund's status and prospects, making our conversations more informed and transparent. They are also very useful in exam preparation, providing real-life examples and in actual advisory scenarios. They serve as a practical tool to understand fund details beyond just the numbers. However, it's important to remember that these fact sheets should be read along with the Scheme Information Document and Key Information Memorandum, or SID and KIM. They are not meant to be used in isolation, but as part of a comprehensive understanding of the fund. In summary, keeping the fact sheet updated and making use of it effectively enhances our ability to make informed decisions and communicate confidently with clients. Let's take a closer look at the riskometer concept. This is a visual tool that helps us understand the risk level of a scheme. It uses standard categories prescribed by SEBI, such as low, moderate, high, and very high, making it easy to interpret. You'll find this risk indicator on important documents like the Scheme Information Document, the Key Information Memorandum, the fact sheet, and even in advertisements. The risk level shown by the riskometer is based on the underlying portfolio risk characteristics. What this means is that it reflects the actual risk profile of the investments within the scheme, rather than just a generic label. This tool is very helpful because it allows investors to match their own risk profile with the scheme's risk level. If an investor is comfortable with higher risk for potentially higher returns, they can look for schemes with a higher risk rating. Conversely, more conservative investors can choose schemes with lower risk levels. Overall, the riskometer is an important part of transparent communication, helping investors make informed choices that suit their risk appetite. It ties back to our overall theme of empowering investors with clear, reliable information. Now, let's talk about some practical points regarding the riskometer. First, it's important to remember that the riskometer must be updated whenever the risk profile of a scheme changes beyond a certain threshold. This keeps the risk assessment accurate and relevant. Investors should not ignore the riskometer while making their investment decisions. It's a useful guide to understand the risk level associated with a particular scheme at any given time. For distributors, it's crucial to explain what the different risk levels actually mean in practice. This helps investors grasp the real-world implications of the risk rating, making their decision-making process more informed. The riskometer is also a handy tool for comparing schemes within the same category. It allows us to see at a glance which schemes are relatively more or less risky, aiding better choice alignment with investor risk appetite. Lastly, it supports both suitability and documentation requirements. By clearly showing the risk level, it helps ensure that the investment aligns with the investor's profile and that all necessary documentation is properly maintained. In essence, the riskometer isn't just a number. It's a practical, dynamic tool that enhances transparency and helps us serve investors better. Let's take a closer look at the core features that define the nature of a scheme. These are the fundamental aspects that shape what the scheme is all about. First, we consider the type of scheme itself, whether it's equity, debt, hybrid, or another category. This helps set the foundation for understanding its primary focus. Next, we look at the investment objective, which is essentially what the scheme aims to achieve: growth, income, stability, or a combination of these. Asset allocation is also a crucial factor. It shows how the scheme distributes its investments across different asset classes to meet its goals. In many cases, You'll also find terms like fees and expenses included as part of the scheme's features. These costs can impact the overall returns, so understanding them is important. It's vital to remember that these core features are not easily changed by the asset management company. Any modifications require a formal process and often involve the rights of the investors, ensuring transparency and protection. So, in summary, these attributes help us understand the scheme's fundamental nature, and they are essential for evaluating whether a scheme aligns with an investor's goals and risk appetite. Now, let's look at the key requirements when there is a change in fundamental attributes of a mutual fund. First, it's important to note that prior notice must be given to unit holders, typically around 30 days in advance. This ensures they have sufficient time to understand the upcoming changes. Additionally, unit holders should be provided with an exit option that comes without any load or charges. This gives them the flexibility to exit if they're not comfortable with the changes, without incurring any penalties. The communication of these changes must be done through prescribed modes, such as letters, emails, or even newspapers, ensuring broad and clear dissemination. It's also mandatory to inform SEBI about these changes and the processes involved, maintaining transparency and regulatory compliance. Distributors play a crucial role here. They need to clearly explain the impact of these changes to their clients and guide them on the best course of action. Ultimately, these measures are all about protecting investor interests and maintaining trust, especially during significant changes like alterations in fundamental attributes. This process aligns with the overall theme of transparency and investor protection in mutual fund operations. Let's now look at some of the mandatory disclosures that we need to make at the scheme level. First, the daily net asset value, or NAV, is disclosed on both the AMC and AMFI websites. This ensures transparency and allows investors to keep track of the scheme's value every single day. Next, we have the regular disclosure of the total expense ratio, or TER, along with any changes in the expenses. This helps investors understand the cost structure of the scheme and stay informed about any adjustments that might impact their returns. Additionally, there's periodic portfolio disclosure, which can be on a monthly or half-yearly basis. This transparency allows investors to see the actual holdings and understand the scheme's investment strategy better. We also have unaudited half-yearly and audited annual financial statements. These financials provide detailed insights into the scheme's financial health and performance, giving investors confidence in the management. Lastly, scheme performance and benchmark comparisons are disclosed as per SEBI norms. This comparison helps investors evaluate how the scheme is performing relative to its benchmark, making it easier to assess whether it's meeting its objectives. All these disclosures are designed to promote transparency, build trust, and enable investors to make informed decisions. They are an essential part of our commitment to responsible and transparent fund management. Let's take a moment to discuss some of the mandatory disclosures that are essential for investor protection. First, you'll notice that standard risk and disclaimer lines are included in ads and documents. These serve to remind investors of the inherent risks involved and ensure transparency. Next, it's crucial to clearly disclose all loads, expenses, and tax aspects related to the product. This helps investors understand the true costs and tax implications of their investments. Additionally, disclosure of the riskometer and product labeling is important. These tools provide a quick visual indication of the risk level and help investors make informed decisions aligned with their risk appetite. We also need to communicate any changes in the fundamental attributes of the investment product. Keeping investors informed about such changes maintains trust and clarity. Finally, details about grievance redress mechanisms and SEBI contact information must be prominently provided. This ensures investors know how to seek resolution if they face any issues. All these disclosures together form the backbone of investor protection, ensuring transparency, clarity, and trust in the investment process. It's about making sure investors have all the necessary information to make informed decisions.